Hello, Pauline, Raquel, and Sarah. My name is Laura Christoff, and I am a professor at Holyoke Community College teaching using a lot of the WileyPlus resources. I just wanted to introduce myself and walk through what I have done in your courses in terms of populating a few different assignments that you might find useful for your classes. So when you log into WileyPlus, you see this little interface here, and if you click on Student View, you'll see what a student sees. So what first pops up, what I just closed out there, was a couple of little tutorials that students can take, and they can either press on them or click out of them if they're feeling comfortable in navigating the course. So as you can see here, there are a few different tabs that you can press in order to navigate your course. The first is the Read, Study, and Practice tab. This is where all of the content for the course is, as well as textbook content can be found in a downloadable e-textbook format as well if people want to have a PDF or print out pages or just have a document that's a little bit easier to read on an e-reader. However, in the Read, Study, and Practice section, all of the text is available too, divided into course content by chapters and sections of chapters. So if I click over here on chapter 1, here chapter opener, I can see all of the content just as it would be in the textbook if I was to download the e-textbook or have the hard copy. If I go back to Read, Study, and Practice, there are also a few different things available to help your students. So one is Orion. This is an adaptive practice where students can take an initial 20 to 25 question test and then are sent to go practice the learning objectives that they might still need to work on. So there are around 500 questions per chapter in Orion, and they're really for personalized practice. Some people choose to assign Orion assignments, while other people choose to use them just as practice for students. There are also some iProfile resources over here, and iProfile is the diet analysis program that we use in our courses. And then there are food for thought videos. These are brief videos that I actually created myself that go through 4 student-facing videos. One is an opener introducing the chapter. One is talking about more scientific concepts. One is talking about more consumer-focused choices in nutrition. And one is a summary of the chapter. There's also one instructor-focused food for thought video per chapter, which you can find in instructor resources. There are also some other videos, animations, and tutorials and activities and games. So you can take a look at those as well and see if there's anything that would be useful for your classes. I typically focus on, the assignments in my class because I find that that's really what students are looking at. So if you go back to the home page, you can see that the assignments are right here, and I've created 5 assignments for your class. So when I spoke to some of the professors at BYU, they mentioned that chapter 5 was going to be a chapter you really wanted to take a look at. So I created some assignments in chapter 5 that really resonate in my intro to nutrition course for non-majors. So there are a few assignments here, and I just want to describe what each of them is like so you can, test them out for yourselves. So the first one is called a How It Works assignment. The How It Works assignment, if you click on it, you'll see that when you click on a question, you can watch a little video tutorial and then answer the question. The video tutorials bring some of the figures from the course to life. So if I click on this How It Works animation, I can see that there would be sound here, but I can see that, I can look at metabolism of lipids and watch a video from a lot of the course content. So it can really allow students, when they're looking at molecules and figures, it might not make a lot of sense to them. And by using a how it works assignment, that can just bring some of the figures to life and teach the students how it works, especially those without strong science backgrounds. So I tend to assign these in chapters 4, 5, and 6, the carbs, lipids, and protein chapters, because they really help bring those students without a biology background up to the same level as some of the other students. So if we go back to the assignments page, the second assignment that I created for you is an iProfile dietary analysis exercise. Now I'll bring you into iProfile in a minute, but the dietary analysis exercise allows students to do some pre-work with a diet analysis program called iProfile, and these are self-grading exercises, so you can really start to see, how students are understanding the program and allow students to work with the program prior to you having to grade a bunch of 3-day diet logs and analyses. So I really like using these in chapters 1 through 5 because it allows the students to just interact with the iProfile tool, and then students are just better able to do their own personal diet analysis in the second half of the semester. I also like to assign post-lecture assignments, and I actually assign these before class starts. There are also pre-lecture assignments that have slightly easier questions, and there are also question banks where you could curate either your own pre- or post-lecture assignments as well. So I always assign a quick start reading assignment so students know that they should be reading their content, and then it will actually grade them for reading, so I can check it off or say that they haven't read. And then they take a post-lecture assignment afterwards, and the post-lecture assignment allows students to link to text if you choose to use that button. So if you can see here, if I click on post-lecture assignment and click on chapter 1, I've set it so students can link back to text, and I've set it so people can attempt twice. And so these are, I use the post-lecture and the quick start reading before class, and so students read the chapter, answer the post-lecture assignment, and then come to class. And that just creates this environment that allows students to come to class with a little bit more knowledge and having read and answered some questions and interacted with the text. So here, the link to text button allows students to go to the spot in the text, the section that has the response, the answer to their question. And so the last assignment that I assigned was a video assignment. So here is the video opener on lipids. So as you can see here, students can watch the video opener. And the video opener gives a little overview of what people are going to be learning in the chapter. In the video opener for lipids, we talk a little bit about the risks for cardiovascular disease and the changes in the 2015 dietary guidelines along with cholesterol. And so with that, students are able to do a little bit more understanding of exactly what the course content is going to be and just answer some questions that get them a little bit more excited about the chapter. As I had showed you before in the Read, Study, and Practice, there are 4 different videos and each one has an assignment that can go with it. Another thing you can assign is the Orion, as I mentioned, which is a personalized practice. So if students click on Orion, when we see this as an instructor, we can see, how many students visited, how many questions they attempted, and if a student views Orion, he or she is going to see more of a little tutorial on how to get started, and then a little first go at questions. So students can click on here. They can say what their confidence level is in order to complete the chapter questions. They take an initial 20 to 25 question quiz or test, and then they're sent to either some harder or some easier questions from each section, depending on how they did. And they can become more and more proficient in each chapter as they answer more questions correctly and with ease and with confidence. So that is Orion. And lastly, I will show you iProfile. So if we go into read, study, and practice one more time, you can see that iProfile is up here. It's some little citrus slices over here. And if you click on iProfile, you can see that iProfile is a diet analysis program. There are steps over here that tell you how to use iProfile. So you begin by creating a profile. You can put a name, birthday, sex, choose if you're pregnant or lactating, height, weight, which then calculates your BMI, your physical activity level, which if students are having trouble defining that, they can click over here to answer what is my activity level, whether they're a smoker or vegetarian, and then can save the changes. Once they save the changes, they can create a food journal. This is going to make me create a profile. So we'll say Laura, we'll say I'm 5'5", we'll say I'm 150 pounds and low activity and a smoker and a vegetarian. And why not? I'll be pregnant too. Here we go. So we'll save changes here. Then we can go into the food journal. And in the food journal, students will search for foods or recipes very similar to, the USDA site. So you can say milk, and typically, all of these different choices for milk come up. So we'll say the student put in some whole milk. The measurements are over here. Add it to a meal. And then they would do that, for a few days. And you can choose different dates up here to create the different days, and any date that they've populated will be highlighted in green. You can also fill out an activity journal, which will allow students to write their 24 hours of activity. And then we go to the reports. So if you're doing a 3-day diet record, you can choose whatever date you logged first on the first calendar and whatever date you logged second on the second calendar. Your DRIs will be given up here. So these are the students' DRI. You can see macronutrient distribution, so they can see, how well they met their DRIs for macronutrient distribution. Can see a food journal summary. Mine is very sad with just one glass of milk. And then intake compared to DRI is the great one. So you can see your DRIs on one side, your intakes on the other side, and what percentage of the DRI you met. You can turn this into a PDF and export it as well for easily uploading to an assignment. And lastly, the other one I like to use is the My Plate portion sizes. So you can see what percentage you met according to your Choose My Plate guidelines. So as you can see, I had 1 8-ounce glass of milk, so I can learn that, that provided some empty calories through the saturated fat of the whole milk I consumed, as well as, some of the dairy group. So that's an overview of iProfile and of WileyPlus. I would suggest, as you head in there, just really looking at some of these different assignments that I've given you. Remember, go to Student View to this test drive, and you can see those 5 assignments for Chapter 5. And you might want to play around with creating your own assignments as well. I know you talked about Chapter 7, the vitamins chapter, being another one that you wanted to take a look at. So you might want to play around and look at Chapter 7. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me at any time. You have my email, and I really look forward to hearing from you and letting you know anything else that I can about WileyPlus. I teach somewhere between 3 and 5 sections of Nutrition 101 every semester, so I have a lot of experience working with this tool. I hope you all have a great day and good luck with your textbook adoption search.